All right. Hotel family, Rahubat, Wuhatuk, greetings and peace. Black power to everybody. And just about to start this class. Welcome to another class, another edition of Science in the Wapu. And it's one thing everybody has been able to get on to really get into this information that we do need to know about on the Flint, Michigan situation. One thing that people need to know that, of course, people should know that this has been going on for at least 2 years, because technically what they say that started the situation is that the people were not paying a water bill. Now, that area, of course, is 70 miles outside of Detroit, and there's at least 60 to 65% of the people that live in that area of Flint, Michigan, not even Detroit, but Flint, Michigan, is black. So the majority of the people, most of the people that live in that area are black people, okay? What they want to say is that, okay, that they started to, the people did not pay a water bill. So what other reports are saying is that the lead in the poison, that the lead in the water, the lead poisoning in the water was actually caused by pipes, which is partial to truth. Of course, we know that was probably, it was purposely contaminated because they wanted to first off get the people out of this. Is something that was talked about at least 2 years ago. They wanted to gentrify certain portions of the United States, or basically a lot of portions of the United States, and especially the Detroit, Flint, Michigan area. They've been talking about this for 2 years. And if you look within that area, the pipes are terrible looking. It's lead all over the pipes, and it seeps into the water supply. So just that alone is purposeful contamination. Regardless of whether a group is not paying the bill or not, that's up to the city and the state to come in and fix that situation. And you have over 9,000 children and counting that have been poisoned by this water, by the lead in the water. At this point, as you can see in photos, water's coming out brown. Literally, Flint, Michigan is in a state of genocide because they can't even drink the water that is it. They can't drink it. They can't bathe in it. They can't do anything. You have, stars from Meek Mill to Cher bringing water, putting money up for water. There's literally going on. Black genocide is going on in the United States, and there's a statewide cry, but it's not. I mean, it's a nationwide cry about this because Barack Obama had to come out and make a statement. They had to go to Detroit, go to Flint, but it's not as strong as it was, of course, when you had the Paris situation. Because people all over the place crying about Paris, but nobody's crying about Flint, Michigan because it's black people, specifically because it's black people. And because every time you turn around, when you see the people that's being interviewed, all you see is black people being interviewed. And so that's the situation that we're dealing with right now. And that's not going to change. The problem is that the reason why I say it's not going to change is that this is not something that has just started. But what I want to do before I go into that, I'm going to stay on Flint. And one thing a lot of people don't know is that they changed the records. When they did examine, when Flint examined the records, this is found on CNN's website, in case you want to go look this up. When they changed it, there was a lead blood level that it reaches in terms of lead, because lead is already in tap water anyway. But there was a level that it reached that was exceeded, like it was at a level that they knew was going to poison the children, poison the people, period. And they decided to change the records to make it seem like it wasn't that bad. And it's they altered data. They basically lied. The state basically lied. And you have some people. You have one congressmen wanting to get, it's time to change the situation. They want to they want to pretend like they want to change the situation because now it's becoming nationwide news. If they would have kept this situation in house in the city of Flint, then they would be able to do whatever they wanted to do. But because it reached all the way to CNN and everybody wants to talk about it now, oh man, what we're going to do? Now it's time for something to be done about it. Now all of a sudden, now they got something to say about something that's genocidal, because now people are talking about something that was purposely done to the people in that area of Flint, Michigan. And this is something that's extremely important because we got all these situations going on with black people dealing with genocide right now. Black people going through genocide from whites on all levels, from police genocide to, of course, lead in our food, lead in our water. We're dealing with it from all levels, okay? And now people now want to have something to say when this has been going on with us for years. The term lead, I want people to really pay attention to something. Always think about this for a moment. Bear with me. Why do you think they have to have unleaded fuel? Think about that. Unleaded fuel. We're still on lead right now. Unleaded fuel and gas. Why do you think that is? The answer is simple. Understand this. You have a period of time when white flight began to take shape, okay? And you had, of course, this was the time period of the FHA loans, where racism and white supremacy literally was giving white people money purposely that they could start white flight, and they created what's called the white suburbs. So whites can live in those nice areas, and blacks can just basically, that area where blacks only are at, they become a ghetto. Because at one point, in the United States, years ago, 30, 40, at least the 1930s, 40s, 50s, during that time period, blacks and whites at some point were actually living amongst each other in certain areas of the United States. Then you had the white flight era happen, and you had a period where, of course, whites were able to get certain loans in certain areas, and they were able to cut off the blacks that were in the same areas, but then turn that area basically into a ghetto. You had what we call the redlining situation, where they can literally build up a concrete wall and just cut off the rest of the people, cut off the blacks from even entering certain areas of the United States, so that area can basically disintegrate and regress, in the area on the other side where all the whites are can progress and get all the funding that it needs. Of course, white flight, of course, FHA loans, purposeful racism in America, where certain areas can get it and certain areas can't. That's something that historically a lot of our people don't know. And you can look this up online. Just look up racism through white flight FHA loans. But the point I'm getting at is this. When those areas that only blacks were still left in were still there, they began to build highways in those areas. And what happened? It's like just like here in Houston, you can go in the hood, whether you go on 610, let's say 610 goes through Southeast Side, South Side, you got 3rd Ward, South Union, South Park. You also have areas now, Southwest Side, you got 59. But that area, if you look, the differences, 610 is like a circle that basically circles certain parts of the hood, but then on certain areas, it is created where it's not contaminating the people. Because once freeways and highways was built around the hood, there was lead poisoning in those gas, and people were being contaminated because of those gas particles, because it contained lead poison. That's why, again, they created these highways and freeways in these areas that only occupy black people, because it just didn't really give a damn, so that the lead from the gas, from the smoke, began to contaminate the black people that occupied those areas of the United States. basically the ghettos. The only reason why they changed from lead to unleaded was because whites in certain parts where they extended the freeways into certain parts where it was white neighborhoods, they began to get poisoned as well. So they went from leaded gas to unleaded gas. Okay? So again, and this is even just going back to the water situation, there's estrogen in the water supply as well, not just lead. There's estrogen put in the water to imbalance our people. They purposely put certain chemicals. There's many different chemicals in our water supply that we're not even talking about. Lead is just one of them at this point. And what I wanted to do now is I'll be quoting from a website where it goes to the top 10 cities in the United States, city-state, where it has the worst amount of water, the worst drinking water areas in the United States. And I'm quoting from Daily Finance /2011. This is 2011 total so far. 2011, 10/American/cities/with/worst drinking water. And starts off from the journalist Douglas McIntyre. Unknown to most Americans, a surprising number of U.S. cities have drinking water with unhealthy levels of chemicals and contaminants. In fact, some organizations and state environmental agencies that collect and analyze water data say the level of chemicals in some Americans' drinking water not only exceeds recommended health guidelines, but the pollutants even exceed the limits set by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, the national legal authority in these matters. The website 24/7 Wall Street examined the quality of water supplies in most major American cities, using data collected from multiple sources for 5 years, ending in 2009, by Environmental Working Group, EWG, based in Washington, D.C. The fact that the data covered half decade is important because it shows that the presence of certain chemicals is persistent. Cities in Kansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Georgia provided insufficient data to be included in EWG's database. Some other major cities outside of these states also failed to submit information, including Detroit, Salt Lake City, and Washington, D.C. Test results from EWG's national database covered a total of 316 contaminants in water supplies to 256 million Americans in 48,000 communities in 45 states. According to the data, among the contaminants were 202 chemicals that aren't subject to any government regulation or safety standards for drinking water. Based on the EWG's methodology, 24/7 Wall Street came up to its 10 worst city list. These cities' water quality rank is based on the 3 metric in order of increasing importance. I'm going to go back before I continue. Just notice that Detroit decided not to put their information out. Just want to, and this is actually about 5 years ago. The percentage still going down. The percentage of chemicals found based on the number that were tested for, the total number of contaminants found, and the most dangerous average level of a single pollutant. Here's that list in descending order with the city's water utility in parentheses. Number 10, Jacksonville, Florida. Located on the northeast coast of Florida, Jacksonville is the state's largest city. According to EWG, 23 different toxic chemicals were found in Jacksonville's water supply. The chemicals most frequently discovered in high volumes were, bear with me, trihalomethanes, which consists of 4 different cleansing byproducts, one of which is chloroform. Many trihalomethanes are believed to be carcinogenic. Over the 5-year testing period, unsafe levels of trihalomethanes were detected during each of their 32 months of testing, and levels deemed illegal by the EPA were detected in 12 of those months. During at least one testing period, trihalomethane levels were measured at nearly twice the EPA legal limit. Chemicals like arsenic and lead were also detected at levels exceeding health guidelines. The number 9 city, San Diego. San Diego Water Department. Located on the Pacific in Southern California, San Diego is the country's 8th largest city. According to California's Department of Public Health, San Diego's drinking water system contained 8 chemicals exceeding health guidelines, as well as 2 chemicals that exceeded the EPA's legal limit. In total, 20 contaminants have been found. One of those in excess of the EPA limit was trihalomethanes, and the other was manganese, a natural element that's a byproduct of industrial manufacturing that can be poisonous to humans. The number 8 city is North Las Vegas, City of North Las Vegas Utilities Department. North Las Vegas water supply mostly come from groundwater in the Colorado River and doesn't contain chemicals exceeding legal limits. However, the water supply did contain 11 chemicals that exceeded health guidelines set by federal and state health agencies. The national average for chemicals found in cities' water exceeding health guidelines is 4. North Las Vegas had a total of 26 contaminants, compared with the national average of 8. The water contained an extremely high level of uranium and radioactive elements. Number 7 is Omaha, Metropolitan Utilities District. The landlocked city of Omaha gets its water from the Missouri and Platte River, as well as the groundwater. Of the 148 chemicals tested for in Omaha, 42 were detected in some amounts, 20 of which were above health guidelines, and 4 of those were detected in illegal amounts. These were atrazine, trihalomethanes, nitrate and nitrite, and manganese. Atrazine is a herbicide that has been shown to cause birth defects. Nitrate is found in fertilizer, and nitrite is used for curing meat. Manganese was detected at 40 times the legal limit during 1 month of testing. Number 6, the number 6 city is Houston, City of Houston Public Works. Houston is the fourth largest U.S. city. It gets its water from sources such as the Trinity River, the San Jacinto Rivers, and Lake Houston. Texas conducted 22,083 water quality tests between 2004 and 2007 on Houston's water supply and found 18 chemicals that exceeded federal and state health guidelines compared to the national average of 4. 3 chemicals exceeded EPA legal health standards against a national average of 0.5 chemicals. A total of 46 pollutants were detected, compared to the national average of 8. The city water has contained illegal levels of alpha particles, a form of radiation. Similarly, haloactic acids from various disinfection byproducts have been detected. Reno, Nevada. This is from Truckee Meadow Water Authority. And this was an update. This is from April 19, 2014, one of the newest updates on Reno, Nevada. Daily Finance was recently contacted by representatives of the Truckee Meadow Water Authority, which strongly disputes the accuracy of EWG report upon which this article was based, to quote their email. The data was used originally to rank some of these utilities is wrong, namely TMWA. One of the many errors of data they used was for raw water, not finished water that people drink. We contacted EWG and they agreed to correct the data and re-rank us. It never happened. Their full public response to the alleged errors can be found here. We have contacted EWG for comment. When they reply, we will get our readers know. In the meantime, however, with no revised data to go by, we cannot update this listing. So read on, but with the caveat that the Reno data is contested. Reno gets most of its water from the Truckee River, which flows from Lake Tahoe. Of the 126 chemicals tested for in Reno, over 4 years, 21 were discovered in the city's water supply, 8 of which were detected in levels above EPA health guidelines. 3 of these occurred in illegal amounts. These were manganese, tetrachloroethylene, and arsenic. Tetrachloroethylene is a fluid used for dry cleaning as an industrial solvent and is deemed a likely carcinogenic by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. Arsenic is a byproduct of herbicides and pesticides and is extremely poisonous to humans. During at least 1 month of testing, arsenic levels were detected at roughly 2.5 times the legal limit. Number 4, Riverside County, California, Eastern Municipal Water District. Riverside County is a 7,200 square mile area located north of San Diego, part of California's Inland Empire. The county is primarily located in desert territory, and so the water utilities draw their supply from the Bay Delta, which is miles to the north. The water in Riverside County contained 13 chemicals that exceeded recommended health guidelines over the 4 tested years, and 1 that exceeded legal limits. In total, 22 chemicals were detected in the district's water supply. The contaminant exceeding legal health standards was tetrachloroethylene. The number 3 city is Las Vegas. Located in the Mojave Desert, Las Vegas gets its water from the Colorado River through miles-long intake pipes. While this water doesn't exceed the legal limits for any single type of contaminant, Las Vegas water has a large range of pollutants. Of the 125 chemicals tested for over a 5-year period, 30 were identified in some amount, and 12 were found in levels that exceeded EPA health guidelines. These chemicals included radium-226, radium-228, arsenic, and lead. The 2 radium isotopes are commonly found around uranium deposits and are hazardous to human health, even in small quantities. The number 2 city, Riverside, California. Riverside, with a population slightly greater than 300,000, gets most of its drinking water supply from groundwater. Regulators in the city of Riverside, which has a different water treatment facility than the rest of Riverside County, detected 15 chemicals that exceeded health guidelines and 1 that exceeded legal standards. In total, 30 chemicals were found. Since 2004, the water has almost consistently been riddled with alpha particle activity, traces of bromoform, a form of trihalotamine, and uranium, causing a unusually unhealthy water supply. And the number 1 city for the worst water in the United States is Pensacola, Florida. Located on the Florida Panhandle along the Gulf of Mexico, Pensacola is Florida's westernmost major city. Analysis say it has the worst water supply in the country. Of the 101 chemicals tested for over 5 years, 45 were discovered. Of them, 21 were discovered in unhealthy amounts. The worst of these were radium-228 and -228 and trichloroethylene and tetrachloroethene, and alpha particles, benzene, and lead. Pensacola's water was also found to contain cyanide and chloroform. The combination of these chemicals make Pensacola's water supply America's most unhealthy. Okay? And again, I want to remind you that, again, Detroit and D.C. did not put theirs in this. And this was the reason why I posted this one or decided to read from this one is because this was from 4 years ago. The reason why, of course, because people say, well, this is outdated. Again, they've tried to update their information, but a lot of these cities did not want to give their newfound information or didn't want to update their information. So, again, you can imagine where these people are now. In Houston, I know this for a fact. This is 2011, where I was quoting from, but in 2011, in 2013, Houston went from number 6 to actually number 3. So what people have to start doing is, number one, we have to start creating filters, and we have to start either buying alkaline filters for our water supply, whether it be on our shower head, on our sinks, and we have to create that to make an alkaline water supply for our home, or because this should be, it's can rotate from one or two, or we go to an alkaline water supply, and we need to take a shower. We need to be able to boil that water to take a shower, take a bath, or just, use it in all other forms that we use water for cooking and eating, and et cetera. Because do realize these are just the top 10. So we're not even, it wasn't even a 20 list, but there's other cities that that's not mentioned. Again, when they want to move people out now, when they want to move blacks out of their area, specifically want to move them out, they poison you. There's also pictures online of the children of Flint with rashes on their faces from the lead poisoning. You understand? This is stuff that my father's been talking about, Dr. York, for years, about genocide on our people. You got Dr. Valentine that's been talking about it, genocide on our people. We got, it's many brothers, Bobby Hemmett, genocide on our people. You understand? So now you're dealing with a group of people, whites, that have a calcified pineal gland. Never had one to begin with. That's why they had to study what it is. And they now can calcify yours by the amount of estrogen in the water and, of course, all these different chemicals in the water. So now you become just as degenerate as they are, because now your children now are already being contaminated. The main thing is, again, these 9,000 plus, that's just a number that they decided to give us. 9,000 plus children that is being poisoned. The water supply is being poisoned. This is just in Flint, Michigan alone. And there's just one city that has been detected for the situation, for them being poisoned, for the people are being poisoned. Their water supply is being poisoned by the city. And they're just now deciding to say something because it got all the way up to Obama and all these other people. And this is sad. This is sad, but this is reality, because we're dealing with a system of racism and white supremacy where when they want to get rid of you, they will get rid of you, and they'll find other means to get rid of you. The damage has already been done. The reality is the damage has already been done. What we have to start doing is we have to start paying attention to other ways of genocidal acts on our people. But the reality is we can't even trust the water supply anymore. We should have already known this. But there's a lot of people now, given the benefit of the doubt, that are starting to wake up to this system and the nature of this beast, because they'll do this and you'll never know about it. We go in our water every day. We take a shower in it. We drink it. And there's so many different chemicals that we don't even think about. It's ridiculous. So I just wanted to really put this information out to the people. Again, I know I was supposed to do one about the Illuminati this week, but I think this is more important at this point. We had to get into this. Eventually I will do that class, but again, this is the most important. And we have to start paying attention and be more self-aware to what's going on around us, because as long as we're in his system, they can do anything they want at any given time, and we can't even do anything about it. But what we can do at the same time, because there's solutions to every problem. We just have to take extreme measures to protect ourselves. That's what it needs to do. So what I'm going to do is take the class off of mute and see if anyone has any questions. Does anyone have any questions or anything like that?
Brother Ali.
What's happening?
How you doing? This is Tyree.
What's happening?
Bless, man. Hey, I was going to say, man, I know, like, for myself, over the past 2 years, I've been getting water from Dream Tree. It's a network marketing company, but I just use it as far as the water. You can see their water system and everything, and it's very affordable. It's 50 cents a gallon. So, you know, my household and with the kids and stuff, we stay stocked up. I at least keep 10 gallons of water in here, which I need to increase. But you can see their whole alkaline process, and they have different levels of it. And also they have filters and things of that nature if people don't have the time to do it themselves, you know, but you can get a good, you know, have another way of resources that's affordable for yourself too. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay. Oh yeah, tell that for that, man, because I actually do my shopping there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Some people don't even know about it. I know that's in Houston, they still don't know about it. I tell people about it all the time to try to get as much from there as possible. Especially, like, I'm glad you brought it up also, because even like buying, I like the fact that what they do is they give you the water level based on, you know, the acidic to the alkaline. And, you know, you can look at, like, just comparing water. This is extremely important. It's our life. That's why this is so important to talk about now. But just examples of what's that, Ozarka, and then you got the one made by Coke. That's the Dasani. Yeah, and they're extremely acidic, and you could see it's like when you go to Dream Tree, they show you the levels, whereas, you know, compared to theirs, because they got 3 or 4 different degrees of the alkaline that they have there. You know, at least get the 8 to the 9, between the 8 and the 9. You know, it's like, we got to start thinking more about our health. That's the most that's the priority of your life, is your health. So it's at least buy a certain amount to where in case there's an emergency that you're not going to be without. Because one thing I noticed with us as a people, we can go into state of emergency where it's a hurricane. We're in Houston. State of emergency happens. Next thing you know, people are going to Walmart, going to all types of places, Fiesta, and they're trying to, like, clean out all the water. And it's like, you should have already been prepared for this. So at least, you know, I'm glad that Brother Tyree able to bring up Dream Tree, because at least they're, like, right around the corner, and it's not that expensive to just basically stock up on as much water as possible. So, yeah, tall hat for that.
Yeah, brother. What's the name of that market again? This is Brother Morris.
Dream Tree?
Green Tree?
No, Dream Tree. Yeah, okay. That's off of, it's off of, if you take Harwin, like where Gaston is, you take Harwin. This is how I take it. I take
off of Briar Park.
Down. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I stay right down the street from it. Yeah, it's between, it's off of Briar Park and Harwin and West Park.
Yeah.
Okay, can you spell that for me, brother, so I can go look in?
I'll go ahead, Ali. My apologies.
No, it's okay. You talking about the name of the place?
Yes.
Yeah, Dream Tree is DREAM as Dream, and then Tree, TREE.
Okay, Green Tree, okay.
Yeah, Dream Tree. Yeah, you could just put it up. You can, like, just kind of like Google map it, and it automatically takes you where you need to go. That's how I did it when I first got there.
Okay, brother, and one thing I use for my house is Brita. I have water pitchers with filters in them. I bought filters.
Okay.
So, yeah, you can use, there's other one, Brita, and there's another one, the Pure. You can put it in your faucet, and then, you know, you have the filter on it. You can put it on the filter. Put the filter on your faucet. And that's what I use to cook and, you know, drink water from. Because I don't use tap water at all. I just get the filters and just filter it out, and you can tell the difference.
Right. Yeah, it's I remember I did that with the Ozarkas back in the day when they had their filters, and when I had my other apartment, I did the same thing here, except I used a Dream Tree one. I think that one is like the metal one that I use was like $32. They have the other filter where it's like the machine. I know Tyree's already seen it. Machine where you just basically it's like a big wire, and you hook up to the sink, but it's a lot more expensive as opposed to the one that's like for $32, and you just like basically unhook the metal piece and you put the other metal piece, but that's the alkaline metal piece. You just replace it in the container piece.
Mm-hmm.
So that's $30. Literally just $32. I mean that's the amount that we spend at a Walmart on junk food. $32. Sometimes people buy a bunch of stuff for nothing, and you can get that filter for $32.
Right. Yeah, and the Brita pitchers, you know, you can get one filter for like $5.
Exactly.
And the pitchers are number $15, $16.
Mhm.
And that's what I used to drink and cook with, because, you know, this is all a diabolical plan. Like, it's not just gentrification; it's genocide. And this is not only, you know, in the United States. This is worldwide. This is the plan that they put together by Zbigniew Brzezinski about wiping out the world's population. Mm-hmm. And this is all in this grand chessboard. And this is all by design. And that's what I tell people, brothers and sisters. They need to wake up. And that's what I tell those who are close to me. Get water pitchers. Get those Brita water pitchers or those pure water pitchers, or get the fountains ones that you can connect on. They ain't but like $30-something.
Right.
Because you got to drink clean water. Because they're attacking us not only with the food, but with the water.
Right. Because my question would be, if you think this is us just going crazy, if this is not a diabolical plan to exterminate our race, why, because I read, that's the main reason why I read from the site, that other cities just decided, okay, we're just not going to put the information out there. We're just not going to give you our information. Why not put your information out there for everyone to see what's going on? Why would you not put your information out there? That's it. Mm-hmm. Why? Why not just let the people know? Like, if the water's not contaminated, why not let everyone know? Oh, this is the situation. This doesn't make a difference. You know, hey, this is not contaminated. There's no chemicals. You got, again, that's why specifically D.C. and Detroit, those areas at this point, and that's 2011, but that was, again, 5 years ago, that to this day, they never reported their water. To this day, because I went on several other websites, Detroit has never reported their water. That area of, because remember, Detroit is 70 miles away from Flint. So imagine where Flint is compared to Detroit. And we already know where Flint is compared to Detroit. So again, you have, that's just, and I only read from the top 10 list, and this is 10. So imagine other cities. Houston's what, number 6? And that was 2011. And I already told you, 2013, which is 3 years ago, they went up to number 3. And it's crazy when you sit back and you watch people invest all the information on capitalistic greed, on all types of material gain, but you're constantly being poisoned in your water supply. But a lot of us, at the end of the day, are asleep. So, and they count on that. So they can continue doing what they want to do. So year after year, day after day, year after year, month after month, our people are getting literally suffering and becoming sicker and sicker, cancerous organisms getting into our body from our water supply. Imagine the fact you're bathing in this. You're not just drinking it, but this is becoming a part of you. You know, and these are things that we have to start paying attention to, because they're not going to just come out. You have to do your research on it. They're not going to just come out and say, okay, this is what's going on with you. This is what we're dealing with, and there you go. No, because if they did, then you would have to admit that this is racial genocide on the African race. But they don't want to do that. So this is what you're dealing with.
Absolutely. And what about Go ahead. And what about the sanitation landfills that they put in near black communities? Exactly. You know, and poisoning the soil. All of that is part of the part of Codex Alimentarius. If people go look that up, and I tell friends of mine, Codex Alimentarius, they're poisoning the food. They're using food, they're using water, they're using the soil as weapons.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm. Look at, it's funny, I brought that same thing up when I was working at Target. This was about 4 years ago. Was having a conversation about racism in Houston. And I said, if that's the case, then why is it I can drive down Griggs and see a big trash dump in the middle right next to that train track? Everyone know what I'm talking about. When you go past MLK and you go down before you get to 610, you see the tree. You got the train track, and you got on the other side, you got the Fiesta, and you got a trash dump before you get to McCowa. Why is that there, but that's not in Bel Air or Western University or River Oaks?
Absolutely.
And then all they want to say is, well, well, if y'all just get up and vote. I'm like, no, cracker, you can't just get up and vote that away. You can't vote that away. That's ridiculous. And it's stuff like that. Again, whites are codified, so they're not going to come out and say, you know what, this is what we're doing. We're sorry. No, they stick by their code. They all of, as my father said years ago, they're like machines, so they all think the same way. It's like, look, we're facing genetic annihilation ourselves, so we need to get rid of those who balance out the planet, and that's the Africans. And so this is what we're dealing with, bottom line. So that's all these things that it's like you have to, as a people, there's so many different factors of genocide that we face, but at least something that's directly that you do. I mean, we're 75% water anyway, but imagine 60% of that is lead and estrogen. Mm-hmm. So we got to get to a point where we got to put our priorities, especially what we're putting in our system, to be the number one. You know, it shouldn't take, CNN says it, so now it's time to change it. No, you got to be that proactive as God to change the supply of what's going on around you. You know, it got to already know. Like, perfect example, like the brother Tyree, he makes sure his family is straight. It's a good friend of mine, his mother, who's part of the Nation of Islam. You go in her garage, her whole garage is filled with nothing but gallons of alkaline water. They don't play that. They do not play that. And that's the mindset that you have to have, that, okay, but then at the same time, just know that Houston's population, when they know you got something, they're going to come after you. So you have to be also prepared to defend what you've also stocked up on and prepared for. That's also a problem as well, because how people respond to national emergency is also predicated to their consciousness, and you can see that.
And Brother Ali, that's what I was actually going to go into. And how you doing, Brother Morris?
How you doing, brother?
I was going to say, I'm blessed, man. I was going to say, when you go into Dream Tree, and not trying to make, promote Dream Tree, like I said, I just use it for my say the whole stuff. But when I observe this, and I know that since you go there, you see very few people, locals, in there, and everybody from there is they're not from the U.S.
That's true.
And every time I see them, they're stocking up on, like, they having carts of either it's the small little gallons or it's the big 5 gallons. And I always observe that, and I see more and more of our African brothers. You see some of the Asian people, you see some of the Mexicans, but it's like you don't see too many local people there.
That's true. Like the black, like from what I can see so far, this is just from what I see, and I do like the same, like you say, I observe that same thing. Most of the time, I see mostly like the Africans, Asians. I don't see too many Black Americans in there at all. Like, you can go there. I remember going there before they closed. I went there like 7:30 at night, and it was just Africans in there, just stocking up. But anytime I remember going there when they first opened, and at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and before they closed. I'm serious. The only time I've seen like Black Americans in there was the two sisters that worked there.
Yes.
That's the it's funny, but it's sad. It's like, wow. And I've told people, I've even given them their card, like, yo, you go get your water right here, man. Go get your water. Stop playing with that Ozarka. Yeah, okay. I've never seen a Black American. I've never seen one in there by water. Yeah, I'm like, wow, like, okay. And it's crazy because, I learned from Dream Tree through going through, of course, Sunshine or whatnot, and I want to know where they got their supply from. So, a brother of mine told me about it years ago, Brother Ajani, about at least 2 years ago. So I just, just going there weekly now just to make sure I refill, I buy new ones, I buy the ones that you just have, the bottle ones. I make sure. I think, I make sure. I don't play around with that, man, because you run out, you be like, oh, man, I ran out. Oh, damn. So it's like you got to go back. And it's crazy because I think that, like, you see, like, some people watch, and this is a side note, but it's still connected to this. You see, like, the House of Consciousness, you have the brother KT Yarstadegree. He's like the brother of Blue Pill and Red Pill. His whole direction is based on health. And I noticed a lot of people will talk about everything else except for what directly attacks them, which is the water, which is their food supply. And there needs to be more classes on this alone. It's funny because Mos Def had a song on Black on Both Sides called New World Water, and that was back in 1999.
Yes. And
it's crazy because I remember when I bought that album, it was one of my favorite albums of all time. But when I heard that song, I was like, why this nigga got a song about water? Like, really, nigga? Water? I was like, water? But then it's like, then when you listen to the song, you like, damn, it's making a lot of sense. You wait on him to talk about WAPU or something, but this is like, this is what we're dealing with. Like, it's crazy because we always say that, I remember he used to say that, he said, things, you only hear about things when they become a state of emergency. That's when the trickle-down effect gets to the American population, is that it's already reached an emergency level, so they just feel like, okay, fuck it, we'll just tell them, fuck it. Well, just CNN them put it out there, so we might as well say what needs to really be said. But they're never going to tell you how bad something is firsthand. And we're dealing with numbers that I'm putting out, the years, that was like 12 years, 10 years, where they knew but didn't change it. That's the main reason why I had to read from it as much as I did, because I wanted people to read that, look, they had a chance, again, to update this information, and they choose not to. All these chemicals is in the water, and you're just now. Just imagine how many people don't know about that much chemicals from Las Vegas to Houston to Nebraska to Las Vegas to San Diego.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And they're not even talking about New York and Boston and cities like that.
No, they're not. They're not. And it's because it's like, because the thing is, that list would usually fluctuate. Because I remember taking CSW classes of community health worker information, and that list fluctuates. The class was so outraged by the amount of lead and estrogen and arsenic in Houston water supply, and it's like, I'm looking at them like, y'all just now noticed? How come y'all don't look this up? Well, we just don't know. You have to be that self-aware to know you're being poisoned, because even if they're not going in there and personally pumping something in, if your pipe supply is that old in certain areas of Houston and it's seeping and it's been doing that for years, you're going to catch all of those chemicals.
Absolutely.
If you're not checking on these different things, then you're gonna have you're already poisoned. You have to do something about that. It's time to, at least with the alkaline water, it basically purifies you. The whole point of it is to purify, and to keep yourself purified. You can't just, okay, I'm going to get on it and then go back to doing Ozarka. No, you got to stay on that. It has to be you. It's going to become a part of you. That's the whole point of it.
Exactly.
This is necessary, man. I hope, enough people heard this. Of course, I'm going to post it eventually, but enough people need to pay attention because this is not a joke. Water supply is gone. We talked about that, and at one point we were talking about that in D.C. We talked about that in California. You had at least 2 cities in California that were mentioned on that list, California water supply. And it's crazy. It's a joke to a lot of people, but this is a serious situation. This is your daily survival. But your daily survival.
and they didn't even mention Los Angeles or San Francisco.
Not at all. No. And those areas are highly popular with black people, especially San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Especially people think, that's just no. It's not just before it was a gay area, it was a black area. Let's stop playing. That was, and everybody knows that. But it's funny, that those again, they weren't supplied. A lot of what you have to also understand is, I noticed when I did the research, again, a lot of these cities just didn't want to put they didn't want to put the data out there. So a lot of times when you get the top 10, you're getting the ones that decided to release the data.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're dealing with. It's crazy. I was surprised even Houston decided to even get involved. But yeah. Wow. Does anyone have any other questions or comments before we shut down?
So Braintree has something I can connect to my sink or to my shower.
Yeah, it does. It has like what you do is you go to the front counter and you ask for the metal screw filter to put on your sink. I think they have it. They have it for your sink and they have it for your shower too.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got the other one I saw on the shelves. That's the one that a lot of people and other people are trying to sell, that big, huge. It's like a machine where you could pick what level that you want to come out. It's very expensive, but it's a worthwhile investment. But you don't have to go that route. You can just get the metal filter, and it really does basically the same thing. But some people like to get however they like to choose the level for themselves.
Yeah.
So Go ahead.
And I was going to say, Brother Morris too. You can. It's actually, like I said, it's a network marketing company. So I would advise, like, really to get the discounts too. Even if you're just going in and you see what you like, get the membership. Like I did, I paid the one time. Ali, I imagine you did it too. I think it's like $49. Pay it and you get everything at wholesale. So you're not paying I paid the retail price for everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure, because what they'll do after a while. I just did it because they just kept asking. Do you have a membership? You have a membership? And I'm like, no, I don't. I just want to buy the waters. And one person was like, you might as well just get the membership because it's half off anyway. So, and then also you can also become a merchant with them as well. And I think that's also important to at least create a business, because Sunshine doesn't have to be the only people of us, black people selling the alkaline. I see that they're the only ones that I see. We can also do the same thing. Just at least start your own business with the alkaline, because a lot of us just don't even know about the alkaline, and that's crazy too.
Mhm. Yes, it's true. I seen one brother by my partner's barbershop. It's a Nigerian guy. He bought him a little building, and he's doing his thing, and they're coming to support. And I just look at that and like, man, now I'm like, why can't we do this and people come to support? And it kind of saves you a little time, and you're more familiar with somebody, if anything. You feel like you're not, the people are not familiar with you, at least you can go support somebody that is too. So you have good, customer service like you want and all of that, and they're supporting each other. And I'm like, man, it goes back to keeping their money circulating within their circle.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. No, you're right about that. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing. I have issues with the conscious community. Information becomes the goal, but not the means. And we should use information as the means, as the runway for the plane to take off, instead of just letting the plane end there. Mm-hmm. So that's we need to use information as power. But so many of them hold on to the information and want to sound deep instead of sharing that information, and let's organize it and let's inform our people.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm passing the word to my family and passing the word to those that are close to me. Look, get alkaline water, get y'all some better water pitchers. Do not drink the tap water. At least start there.
You're right. You're right. It's like, and again, with our people, we don't think about things because, again, we're reactive. We'll become reactive people based upon the system. So we don't really think about it until it's like, you're getting sick and you got rashes. Like you saw with Flint. You got the kids walking around with rashes on their faces, and it's like, wow, like, you can taste, if you're smart, you can taste lead in the water. When you can, it's a difference. Like, especially when you've been drinking alkaline for so long, you can turn on your faucet and taste the lead. But again, a lot of our people are extremely misinformed on everything, and they're purposely kept like that. So it's like thinking like you just said, it's information, but then the information has to turn into action, because it's multiple businesses that we can start if we just ask, okay, how did you get, who is your wholesale supplier? Especially imagine you're having the monopoly on alkaline water in your area, and that's just important. It's at least something that we all need. We can monopolize on, because they're not stopping you from doing. No one's stopping us from going in Dream Tree and going to the classes and being the supplier of your area. It's easy to do that. And you could have a class in your area. I don't care if you live in the hood or not. You could have a class in your area about why it's important for alkaline water. There's people who do that right. There's whites who do that right now. They got those 3 o'clock in the morning PSAs on channels. They do it all the time. We just have to want to do those things for ourselves and not be dependent on what other people are doing for us.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I like Claude Anderson so much, because he touches on that.
But like, if you don't mind, if I share one thing, and this is my personal opinion, is that we are so afraid for the next brother to get the spotlight or to make the money, and then bring you along, and sometimes the brother making the money and the one thing that you want to do, we get jealous too much, instead of finding out, guess what, let him get the money there, let me go on this other thing, and we come together. Like, we want the spotlight so much, but recognition don't pay the bills.
No, don't.
And that's the thing, that we everybody else can operate like that, but we want the recognition. But then it's like, get the money. That's, what I'm saying. Then and I'll let that be your recognition.
I don't care. I'm like, I don't care. I don't even have to be known to do this or known to do that, or the theme and this and that. Let me just be the supplier of a situation that, even if it's at a lecture, next lecture, you just put out the information and look, I got Dream Tree for X amount. I got from 8, 9 to 10, 8, 8.5, whatever. I have it for X amount of money. If you need it, I got it. People gonna call you. Because the thing is, especially now, people seeing this, and now people, of course, are gonna react to what they see, as opposed to learning. Like, look, this should not be something you do based upon what the devil tells you, based upon what TV tells you, what the media says. You have to already make your supply, and you should start supplying yourself now. That should also be a lesson to this. It needs to be, this is the problem, this is the solution, and now you have to act on the solution. Oh, because it ain't about monopoly. I don't want to have a monopoly on somebody's mind. You can do it yourself. You can do anything yourself. We just got to know that.
Yeah. And when I go to places like Walmart or Target or anything like that, guess who's buying a lot of those Brita pictures? White folk.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
White folk.
They staying there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, go in these, like you say, go in Target. It's funny. You go in Target and you see the pictures. You don't see blacks buying that. You just see them buying the bottles, bottled water bottles. You just buy just enough just to, basically it's almost like we buy water by default.
Right.
Well, we have to have the water, but not, I don't really want this, so I'm going to just get it just because I need it. That's our mindset. But when it comes to junk food, that's a priority. I've seen that.
Absolutely.
Most of our time. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I walk right in Walmart and Target, brother, and I'm telling you, I don't see no one bottles Brita and pure water pictures but white folk. That's all I see. White folk.
Yeah.
And I got a strange look from white folk when I bought mine.
Yeah, they don't be like, why you buying this, nigga?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they mark it up, too, to where it's a mind thing to where the way that they do it, they mark it up so that we don't think we can afford it. And we think and really realistically, if we save up our money to buy it, however your situation is, you know what I mean? It's like the upper class. It's like kind of like, the people who got the money, they know it. So they'll mark it up and just for them. But for us, like you said, we get the crumbs. And it's like, man, go invest in that. We don't know even think to invest in that one little simple thing that can really make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So you're thinking clearer. You know what I'm saying? You're feeling better. And all of those little small things. And one thing I was going to say, can you talk spring water? I'm always hearing the natural spring water is just as good as the alkaline. Are you?
The natural spring water, I've heard from what the tests were, they were between 5 and 6 in terms of, like the Zarka was about at 5. They were like neutral in terms of acidic, but the spring water, regardless of which brand it is, will be around 6. They're still acidic, but they're like
they're still acidic. It's very acidic.
On the line,
okay.
Yeah, it's still on the line. So I wouldn't even play with it. You might as well just switch to what you're doing.
Yeah, I just always hear that, but I stay with the alkaline. But I always hear that the spring water is good. Everybody says that. I was like, okay, but I'm glad you gave me those numbers right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I started testing it, and I was like asking around as well, and I was just looking up because a lot of this is like just common knowledge in terms of the water levels, in terms of acidic levels, is very needed to know, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If there's no questions, I'll shut it down. Any more questions or comments? All right, y'all. I want to say, Wadu family and Hotep Washuk.
Hotep Washuk.